Nah. Ooh, and we're alive.
All right.
Yeah. We are live. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Stone Guy 223. Got quick introductions from my left. We've got Nathan's Armory.
What's up?
And next to him, we've got Patriot, new guy. What's your channel name, Patriot?
Patriot Tiger 777. Hello, Internet.
And Mr. Cork 71.
Hello, folks. You should know me by now.
And Mr. Walt.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Having a blast. Having a blast. All right, so let's see what our first topic is tonight. What do we want to talk about? We want to talk about this Brown shooting.
Yeah, let's talk about Brown.
Because we haven't talked about that in a few days, but apparently now they're interviewing the friend that was with him that day, and of course, he just, and just to be profiling here, obviously I
Not
don't
the
know
most
the guy.
credible homeboy you ever saw.
He's got a couple felonies on him. He's got, not saying that tattoos are bad. I mean, I have tattoos, but he's got those thug ass gangster tattoos all the way up to his neck, and I don't know. I mean, I guess that's prejudice of me to judge someone strictly based on appearance, but he does have a criminal record, and he does look the part of a thug.
I'm sure he's a good boy, though.
Well, they put a tie on him. He put a shirt and tie on, and now he's a choir boy.
Were there any facial tattoos?
Yes.
That's a bad sign there.
I mean, when you get a tattoo on your face, you pretty much say, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah. When you start getting tattoos on your face, that's your way of saying, I am not mainstream at all. I have no intention of holding a 9-to-5 job.
You get a tattoo on your face means you don't want a job.
Yeah.
And unless you're in the tattoo industry, I guess.
Right.
Like Kat Von D, I mean, she's pretty hot. She's got tattoos on her face.
All right, I'll give you that one.
I don't think she's...
That's the exception. The rule is typically you're outside of mainstream society if you have tattoos on your face, because tattoos are getting so mainstream. That's the next level. I mean, it used to be when I was a kid, you get an arm full of tattoos, you pretty much were a lifetime biker, and you didn't have a 9-to-5.
Well, and that's the thing, man.
Everyone's got them.
Yeah, tattoos don't denote bad behavior or a bad person by any means.
Well,
So
it just depends what they are.
Well, let me just say this: the fact of the matter is that this guy, regardless of the tattoos, that was just kind of an embellishment, so to speak, as a description of the guy. But regardless, the guy does have a criminal record. He was with Brown that day, because he's a little bitty dude, like a little skinny crackhead looking fucker. So he wasn't the one doing the strong arm. He said he didn't participate in the strong arm robbery of the store clerk, because obviously he's a little bitty dude and his buddy was the big boy in the bunch. So but he also gave a false statement.
That's not uncommon for somebody like, because they called him Big Mike. He was like giant.
Oh yeah.
So for some giant dude to be cruising around with a little with a little buddy,
right.
Because together they're pretty tough.
Well, he gave a false police statement or police report initially. Even an interview he did with Wolf Blitzer, he omitted a few pertinent details of that day's events, that he said he didn't feel were. He said that he didn't think they were pertinent to the day or to the events. That he didn't think that basically robbing a convenience store prior to him getting shot was necessary information. So, I mean, I don't know how he could, think that, but point is now
you have no requirement to hold on. Stone Guy, that you have no requirement to incriminate yourself. So he, of course, is not going to speak to the police about a criminal activity that he may or may not be linked to.
Well, that's absolutely true, but the fact of the matter is there's a lot of people that are basically have written him off as a credible source because of all these factors we mentioned previous, and now they've got the Browns attorneys, basically calling this kid, saying that the kid is credible, that there's, the kid was not involved in anything. He was just, perfect little angel, and they even said that they're trying to switch the wordage from being a witness to being a victim himself.
You know what? The whole thing about the situation is there were lies told from the start, and I don't like how Al Sharpton and the Chicago guys, the race biters from up near me, had to come down there and just stir up a whole bunch of other crap like they always do. I mean. Yeah,
and I'll be honest. Let's be fair. I think there were lies told on both sides of the aisle from not only Brown's friends and people of his demographic that immediately told lies and made up stuff, but I think there were also lies and half-truths told by the police department. And,
yeah.
The police department really was covering it up.
Oh, yeah.
So
it just turned into a mess so fast. I mean, you had, the riots that night, or whatever, and you had the store owners, shooting at the rioters, and then you had the police, start attacking the rioters, and they backed off the second day or the third day it was and didn't respond. I mean, it's just a mess down there.
Did the police chief get fired yet?
I don't think so. That's kind of all tapered off. Everybody's, I've been watching CNN and Fox, and it seems like the protesters are definitely definitely a lot more low-key now. There's not as many people showing up. And,
well, didn't the National Guard come out to quell that, like yesterday?
That was a couple, 3 or 4 days ago when the National Guard came out. But actually, they'd already been there and been called off by the a state trooper guy that basically was put in charge, and he basically said, after the National Guard was there for a couple days, he said, "All right, guys, we've got it under control. You can leave now," kind of thing, because he went out there and started actually interacting with the general populace and the protesters.
I keep seeing a picture of an African American member of the police. Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah. He's an African American state patrol officer or something like that.
Good on him for doing that. Good on him. I thought the governor was responsible for calling them out and calling them away. I didn't know.
Correct.
Well, yeah, the governor has to give the order, but if you have another state, like the head of the state patrol, I'm not sure what exactly this black guy's position is in the state patrol. Okay. But if he's a high ranking, he could probably put in
a recommendation to the governor.
Yeah, contact the governor and be like, hey, I think I got it under control. Let's settle the situation down and call everybody out.
Okay.
So. Let's see.
Yeah, his funeral was today, and that's all they covered on the news here anyway, was the funeral, and then the earthquake made up the rest.
Well, yeah, that's basically what I'm seeing is the funeral, and they're basically just trying to call into question, or not call into question, but really just expose his character. They're trying to paint this picture of him being
a good guy.
A good guy, and regardless of the situation, even if he was a thief, he didn't deserve to be killed just for being a thief.
You know what? I just hate that we're not getting to the whole point. The point is not, his color or whether he was a thief or not. The point was the officer justified in that moment to take a life? That's the whole what I want to know.
Exactly.
That's what matters to me.
Exactly. That's a great point, because that is truly all that matters. It
I mean,
doesn't matter if he did a robbery beforehand. I mean, there's bank robbers, and you don't shoot bank robbers just because they robbed a bank.
Yeah. How they always thought is, you deploy deadly force when there's an active lethal threat. Even the police, you can't shoot someone in the back for robbing, a store, running away with money anymore.
And I disagree 100% that that's the only thing that matters here. To me, what matters much larger than whether this kid did something to deserve this police shooting. What matters more is the way the police department defied the law to cover up the details of the case, whether he was justified in shooting him, and then the reaction that they had towards a civil populace.
Correct.
Yeah, there you go.
The police don't get to say, okay, we know the law, but we're not going to follow it, and then if you come into the streets, we're going to arrest you. That's the state, and they don't get to do
rubber bullets and beanbags.
I'm going to have to go with Yankee on this one. That the handling of it by the police department there was very, very poor after the fact. They
I
could
agree.
handle it in a much better way and probably relieve the tension between them and the populace.
Well, I think the most disgusting thing to me so far in that whole situation was the video of them tearing down during the protest. The media tried to videotape what the police were doing, and the police were on video arresting the media and tearing down their equipment. I mean, that's like out of George Orwell's or something. That's bad.
Yeah, like the media does not deserve to be tear gassed. Well, they do deserve to be, but they were unlawfully tear gassed.
Right.
Right, and again, it is a constant reminder that no matter how much we think we've progressed as a society and the rules we've set up and rights we've guaranteed, how the reason we set up those rights and tried to guarantee them and put them in the Constitution was because the founders knew that those are the first things to get removed in a crisis, and this just goes to show they're throwing the First Amendment out the window.
Well, when I was watching this, what I kept thinking back to was, I don't know if you all remember, but during New Orleans, during the hurricane, the mayor kind of declared himself, the almighty leader, and had the police go knock door to door confiscating guns. I mean, there's videos of this on YouTube. That's what I just kept thinking back to when I was watching this.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit, a week or two ago.
Right. And we all came to the agreement that was exactly what needed to happen, right?
Well, sure. We'll go with no.
Yeah.
I can't even.
No.
Beat that one.
No, but in all seriousness, so I don't know, and I definitely agree with the fact that the other issues that Yankee mentioned need to be addressed, but I think those are separate issues from the core issue of whether or not the cop was justified.
Right.
And I think we need to. Everybody wants to know, and I don't know if we'll ever truly know. I mean, obviously, it's going to go to grand jury.
A cop shooting someone, whether they're justified or not, that is something that happens every day. It is the reality of life. It's the reality of the job, etc. Sometimes bad cops make bad decisions, and if you don't believe we have bad cops, just look at the fact that when they were trying to figure out which one was the little fat cop on camera that was threatening to execute citizens on camera that night, and when they were investigating into finding out who he was so they could fire him, they ended up having to suspend 5 other police officers because it turned out that, oh, great, there's videos of them on the internet talking about how we need to kill all the black people, and so they had to let go 5 other officers just to find that one. So there's obviously a problem with bad officers in that police force.
Is it me, or does that seem like that, at least the perception that we've all been given is that entire department is fucked?
That's what I hear.
It's common. You get one dumbass in charge, and you can have a complete fucked up department. And it's awful. And that's like I say, that is a common thing. Okay, a cop shot someone. Was he justified? Sometimes someone that didn't deserve to get shot will get shot by a police officer. Not the end of the world. I mean, it's a tragedy, but not the end of the world. Now, the fact that the police think that they're above the law and that they have the right to dismantle the media, that they have the right to harass the media, they have the right to harass citizens. They have the right to deny you your right to assemble, your right to free speech. They have a right to point shotguns at your face even though you've never done anything wrong.
They raided
That
that
is
church.
not a small issue.
Well, that's exactly right, because stupidity breeds stupidity, and like you said, Yankee, if you get the head sheriff or the chief of police in there that has those ideals and is someone that is racist and that is not by the book, then he could eventually kind of put together a whole force of like-minded people.
Well, no, hold on.
It don't take a whole lot of lateral movements, and believe me, these police chiefs, they get called and said, "Hey, Billy Bob got in trouble for racism, and he called some poor old black lady the N-word last night and threatened to blow her head off because she jaywalked. We need to move him along." And they'll be like, "Sure, I'll take him." They get their choice of which lateral movements they get.
Right.
I was gonna say what this reminds me of is all my life I've heard about stories out of the Dallas school district. Dallas, by the way, it has a city council that yells, fights, and cusses with each other, so it's not a well-run city. But when you look at the Dallas school districts, they are, the teachers there are not paid as well as the other school districts. They got 35, 40 kids in a classroom. They're underfunded. The administration is ripe with people stealing and, profiting off working for the school district and stuff. You just hear all these terrible stories come out of it, and it's a school district, but it's just like it comes to a point where people won't work for that school district if they have a choice, if they have a better choice. You know what I'm saying? Like I think some police departments are kind of like that. They have a reputation, and
even worse.
The top cops don't go there.
Well, it's not. It's even worse than that. It's not a choice that the top cops don't go there. It's the point that it would be the same if, let's say, every time a school official got arrested for a felony, instead of firing them, they transferred them to Dallas. That's what happens inside the police department. Every time you get charged with something heinous that's a fireable offense, you don't get fired. The media gets told you were fired, but you get what's called a lateral move to another department, usually one county over. So that's how they deal with these things. They don't. It's like I said the other night. Being a dirty cop is like being a dirty priest. You touch a couple of kids, all they do is move you to another parish. They don't fire you. And that's the way it is with cops. And these police chiefs, there get to be certain departments where everyone knows, hey, he got in trouble for racism. Captain Jack will take him because Captain Jack ain't got a problem with racism. So they call him up and say, hey, we got this guy. We need to give him a job over there. Will you take him? And he says yes.
I got a great idea for a TV sitcom now, like on FX, now that Breaking Bad's over. It's going to just be Cop Priest.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Nathan. Where's the fucking eject button?
You got it, Stoke.
Oh, man. I don't even know how you would write the storyline for that.
Well, in the midst of all the happenings in Ferguson, did you guys hear that Obama has authorized manned and unmanned surveillance over Syria?
Yes, I did hear that.
I heard something about it. It was a quick little blurb underneath all the other bullshit.
Yeah, it's just the first step to allowing attacks inside Syria, which we need to do. There is no division now between Syria and northern Iraq. If we want to try to pretend that there's still an imaginary border, we can pretend it all we want, but it doesn't do us any good when all the bad guys got to do is come across, shoot at us, and then they take 3 steps back and say, "Up, can't touch us now."
Wait a second. Why are we still over in the Middle East at all? Why are we wasting U.S. manpower?
Because these little things like ISIS that want nothing more than to blow up big buildings in our country, and and similar groups have done it before.
I understand that. I understand that.
We will never be out of the Middle East. Just don't ever let that illusion enter your mind. We're never leaving that region.
No, and we shouldn't, because if we do, that's just like saying, my neighbor wants to kill me, but if I just stay in my house, he'll never get around to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of got to watch it. If your neighbor wants to kill you, you got to keep your eyes open.
We have to have people there. One, to support the stuff that we've tried to help set up, which was wanted by certain people. And then the other thing is we have allies there. And then
That's true. Israel, which Obama couldn't care less for.
Right, which has been a major ally for us in the region for, what, at least the last 20, 30 years.
Shit,
That's the people
last
I want to
100
help.
years.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to help Israel. I feel very bad for the whole Israel situation with Gaza. I
We
mean,
don't need to help. We don't need to help Israel. We just need to kind of step back and let Israel help themselves.
Yeah, we need that's a situation where we need to remove ourselves and just be like, you know what, do your thing when it does
Yeah,
settle.
that's what a lot of people miss the whole point about. They're like, we're not supporting Israel. We're supporting Israel out the fucking ass. Who do you think's keeping the UN off Israel's back every time we veto? Anytime they have a resolution that's anti-Israel and we veto it.
Well, we've
That's us
always
having-
supported Israel.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think this time Obama's the first president that's been pro-Palestine.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Kind of against Israel.
No, Carter was pro-Palestine. Reagan was pro-Palestine. They all wanted an independent state. You know, Bush wanted an independent state. Bush Jr. wanted an independent state. They were all following that two, separate but equal states kind of things. But, that's just getting to where it's not an option anymore. It was an option right up to the point where the people of Palestine decided that they're going to elect a terrorist group as their leaders.
yeah, no shit.
Yeah. That,
Yeah,
and we definitely, like, logistically, we support Israel as well. I mean, their mainstay of their fighter aircraft and strike aircraft are American aircraft.
Well, I knew that. I just knew Obama wasn't fond of Israel at all. I mean, I haven't seen him say one positive thing.
To be honest, at this point, who the fuck cares what Obama's got to say?
Yeah, and what are you wanting
at
to
least he hasn't
what-
said one of those kids could be my child over in the Middle East, at least.
And Bush said, and you got to remember, what did Bush
We're not
say?
Nigeria.
And what did Bush say positive about Israel? He didn't say
that's
much
true.
anything positive about Israel. He didn't come up and say, I like it when Israel bombs Palestine, even if babies do get killed. And what do you think? Obama's going to come out and do that too? No,
Well,
they're going to
all I hear from the media is vilifying Israel about how they're attacking Gaza. Forget that Gaza's attacking them. Just more vilification of Israel.
Every time I watch the media, I see Israel did this after Palestine did this.
Yeah,
So
I have to agree with Yankee on that. That's what
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, we can do it, nobody else can.
now, the only ones that say, "Oh, it's just all Israel," that I've seen so far is when the right wing are accusing people of not supporting Israel. And I'm like, I don't see these stories you're seeing, because every time I watch one, even on MSNBC, they'll be like, Israel launched 4 rockets into Palestine today after Palestine launched 6 rockets at Israel. So they always say both sides. Now, they don't get into the story of every time of why this is happening, but what do you want to do? Give you a history lesson between commercials every time they have to bring this up?
I distinctly remember all of this happening pretty much all of my life. So
And I used to always have this mixed feeling. I'm like, I completely support Israel's right to exist. And people who say, well, they weren't even a state till the 1950s. Well, we weren't a state till the 1770s or 1780s. So do we not count either? Is there like a time frame you have to have existed for before you matter? Did we not matter after only 50 years?
What do you feel about? How do you feel about us going and plucking them out of there and giving them refuge and basically
talking about?
supporting them?
as far as Israel goes,
No, the people that were the
Who are we talking about now?
the Israelis, the people that are trapped,
The Christians by ISIS? Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
the ones that were trapped up on that mountain.
Yeah.
That's not you're mixing your stories there.
All right, well, get me straight.
are
You're
we
talking
jumping
about
back
the Christians.
if we're jumping back to Iraq,
Yeah.
here's my opinion, for whatever it's worth. We helped try to set up a free country, and we do have a vested interest in that. So, fuck it, why not continue to help?
Here's the
lost point now.
Okay, yeah, I got my stories mixed. Which are the ones where the people were trapped on the mountain and the helicopters were?
Those are the Yazidi people, and those are Iraqis. They're just a religious group in well, not a group, but they're like a tribe basically, and ISIS is wanting to wipe them out. Now the media completely incorrectly identifies them as, oh, they're Christians and they're going after them because they're Christians. The Yazidis are not Christians, but that gets people more riled up. But still, it's still basically genocide of one group of another.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Sunnis and the Shiites have been fighting and killing each other. The only thing that keeps the peace is a dictator telling them to cut it out.
So why are we going over there and plucking them out?
That's why I always love when people go, we need to bring God back into government. Like, yeah, so we can be like the Middle East.
Well, what I wanted to say to Paul is, Paul, what's your plan for a peaceful Middle East? I mean, I don't think...
Look, the Middle East has never been peaceful.
Right, that's my point. I mean, we're never going to solve this.
Be peaceful.
The only way to make the Middle East peaceful is to make it glow, and then we can't get the oil out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there is a way to have a peaceful Middle East, but unfortunately it requires extermination and repopulation.
Yeah, you turn it into glass and then wait 10,000 years and then go back.
Exactly.
But we have a vested interest in that country. Regardless of what politician says what, we have a vested interest. We're going to go there and we're going to fight to keep that safe.
Well, hold on. There is one useful thing about Israel. It does put something right beside a bunch of people
who hate us,
make them kind of throw their rockets at instead of us.
That's true.
True story.
You know, I mean, think of it like a buffer zone. Why would you want to fly all the way across the ocean to attack us Americans when there's Israel right here beside you?
So who here is concerned about Russia? Or is no one concerned about Russia?
Concerned about Russia.
Putin's not concerned about us.
I'm not concerned about Russia as a standalone state. If they get Chinese help?
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to say, a Russian-China super PAC, you know.
Well, yeah, but China's got a vested interest in being against us. They're our bed buddies.
They've got a vested interest in us.
Yeah, if Russia attacked us, it would erase the debt, and they would be in big trouble.
Well, Russia couldn't do anything about it. So we could bankrupt Russia in 3 months if we went to war.
We are bankrupting Russia. Russia right now is watching. I was watching the morning news yesterday and watching the financial reports from Russia. And oh my God, they are literally. If what was happening in Russia now was happening here, even with Putin artificially inflating the income and he's channeling so much black market money into the economy to try to keep it afloat. But if we had the numbers of our economy right now that Russia has, there would be people throwing themselves out of skyscrapers 10 at a time on Wall Street right now. Their economy.
Here's the thing. China is our bed buddy right up until it comes to North Korea. We can't fuck with North Korea when they do stupid shit because of China.
But North Korea is insignificant, though.
Yeah, I mean, they can't even launch a satellite into the sky without it blowing up. I mean,
right now, I understand they're using old Soviet technology, which is really funny because Russia funnels their old tech in North Korea that never worked to begin with. But if Korea and Russia ever make a pact, China's going to be put in a position where it's going to have to choose. It's vested interest.
And who do you think it'll choose? It will choose its financial interest. China has become an oligarchy. China is pretty much owned now by big business, so they're going to make their decisions not based on old Maoist tendencies. They're going to base their decisions on the stock market and the dollar.
Well, all I'm saying is they're going to collect on our debt sometime. I mean, they're not just going to lend us an infinite amount of money forever.
Well, they ain't got nothing to really collect on. They don't owe like a bigger part of our debt than any other. You know, Japan owns as much as our debt as they do.
I thought China owned the majority, so I guess I'm just wrong on that.
China does not own the majority. That's right.
It shifted. The China and other people have offset the debt because they worried about us when we got downgraded, and basically they've sold off our debt to other people, and just it's all spread out.
You talking about when we lost our credit rating?
Yeah, our credit rating went down, and China offloaded a bunch of our debt because they're worried about us having more economic trouble. And guess who bought our debt up? The Federal Reserve bought our debt up. With all their extra money they have lying around.
In other words, we owe ourselves.
Yeah, we owe ourselves a lot of money.
And it's normal. You got to look at. You know, I was reading a paper the other day in the what's the name of that damn magazine? I was at the airport and I was reading whatever. No, it's like U.S. News and World Report. U.S. News and World Report. And they were talking about how, 7 of the top 9 economists in the country, 2 of them say the debt is right where it should be, and 7 of them are worried that it's falling too fast, that our deficit is falling too fast, and if it falls any faster, we're going to go into recession again. Because you got to think that our deficit has fallen from like in the 9-point-somethings to the 3-point-somethings, pretty much in 6 years. So we got to be careful because you can't just eliminate all your debt because a healthy economy has to run with some debt.
Wait, why is that the case?
just the way finances work. If you've got no credit, just to say this, I don't have any credit cards. I'm a person, I don't use credit. I don't have any credit. The only loan I have in my life is my house. I pay cash for my cars. Don't use credit cards to buy my guns. The only thing I have my name on in this world that has debt on it is my house. If I go to a bank, even though I have no debt and have a healthy income, they're going to look at me like I'm a super risk.
Really? Okay.
Yep. But then you can take me, which I'll let you know a little my shitty credit. I have a maxed out credit card. Granted, it ain't much. It's like, I don't know, $1,000 or something. And my car and my student loans, and I can go out and buy a brand new fucking truck.
Really?
If I could buy a new truck today, they'd be like, no way.
Even overextended on my credit, I can go trade my car and roll over that debt and buy a brand new truck that I can't afford. Bad credit's better than no credit. Good credit's great.
Okay, well.
And people always make this mistake that they're like, oh my God, we owe twice as much now as we did 30 years ago. Well, you got to remember, it's all based on your GDP. If someone who makes $500,000 a year is $20,000 in debt, they are still better off than someone who makes, $50,000 a year and is $15,000 in debt. It's not about money. It's in relationship to your GDP. It's not just bottom dollar.
And there's global economy in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It'll make your head spin if you start to think about it any more complicated.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not an economist, so okay.
It's like if my cousin that makes $200,000 a year comes to me and says, "Hey, can I borrow $1,000?" I'd give it to him right now, knowing he'll give it back to me next week. If my cousin that hasn't had a job in 4 years comes to me and asks if I can borrow $10, I'm going to be like, "Take a walk, loser."
Oh, cold.
I was going to say that the thing that scares me, especially in my current situation, is I do worry about if things are to go bad ever and there's a breakdown in medicine and food and stuff like that. I'm more worried about it now than ever. But again, we seem to be living in an artificially controlled environment. I mean, they're breaking all the rules and making it work. So obviously, it's all, none of the rules of economy that I learned really are applying right now.
They make it work for a while, and then you have an Enron, and then they make it work for a while, and then you have a Wall Street collapse, and they make it work for a while, and you have a big auto collapse. It's not that they're making it work; it's just that they are hiding money. They're taking money from one spot, stick it into the pockets of a tiny little portion of the population, and then try to keep convincing us, "Don't worry, once they have all the money, they'll take care of us." But what they do is when they have all the money, they just walk away.
Well, they're printing money. Isn't the Federal Reserve constantly printing more and more money?
No.
Actually, I'll be honest with you, printing more money isn't really a problem. The money creation comes out by loaning money. You can take all the bills that are out there, but the money that's electronically kept in banks far exceeds the actual cash.
Does it really? Okay.
Oh yeah, hugely.
The real problem is when they start allowing companies to loan money to themselves and then default on that loan that they owe themselves and then bankrupt themselves and they take all the profit that was generated off the money they loaned to themselves that they created artificially that came from nowhere else but outside, and then not pay back any of the money that they borrowed from themselves.
Here, I'm actually on the U.S. debt clock right now because I was looking something else up, but it has money creation. Looks like we got $4 trillion in cash. The M2 money supplies $11 trillion. The Treasury securities, it's less, but the currency and in credit derivatives is $743 trillion. So when you're talking about just made-up money numbers, we got $4 million in cash and $743 trillion in credits and derivatives floating around Wall Street. Can kind of crash and burn real fast, can it, when it's all electronic?
Well, especially when someone calls them on something.
Yep, because the derivatives can be bet off derivatives, so it's almost like a shell game combined with Vegas up there.
Yeah. That's what happened with the housing. That's what happened with the housing markets. The housing markets, basically what the banks did is they're like, hey, you know how we could make a lot of money? If we could take a bunch of nickels, put them in a roll, if we can put 50 nickels in a roll and tell everybody it's $100 worth $100. Yeah, that's basically what they did. They took 50 nickels, bundled them together in a roll, and then put quarters on each end and told everybody it's a $25 roll. When really it was only like $2. And then they sold those, $25 rolls of quarters that were really just nickels in between to everybody and said, okay, we're making money by selling rolls of quarters for $24, and everybody's making money because you're getting $25 worth of quarters and you're only paying $24 for them. We're making money, everybody's making money. But then someone opened up the roll of quarters and went, hey, there's just nickels in here. And that's when the banking market collapsed. Because what they were doing is taking subpar mortgages that had no value, bundling them all together, pretending like they were A-plus commodities, and selling them to people. And that caught up with them. And eventually it always catches up, and who pays for it? We pay for it.
Yeah, because the guys
or in this case, the government bailouts.
The bag. The government bailouts weren't anything.
No, they were tiny. But what most of the money came from out of my pocket, your pocket, out of prices we paid, increased prices we paid, mortgage interests we paid, etc., that we never should have paid.
Yeah, and everyone who is high up and highfalutin and rich has a stockbroker that immediately pulls them out before a crash happens. And the regular day traders and other people, the people with 401ks, get left holding the bag.
Yeah, it's like someone was saying the other day, it was like, they were talking about how, well, you've got to, I was like, the one guy was saying, well, the stock market is indicating the economy's strong, and the other guy was like, well, the stock market only indicates for the wealthy. And he's like, that's not true. The vast majority of people have 401ks, etc. And that guy said, yeah, and how much of your 401k can you touch right now? None. Without using to paying a huge penalty. So basically what you're doing is you're giving your money to your company saying, make fortune off of this and maybe let me have it when I'm 60. You're not making nickels on the dollar off your 401k money that they're making off your 401k money. And they can touch their money now. The wealthy can go down any time and sell their stock, pull out, etc. They're not bound by the same rules you're bound by in your 401k. It's like when all the Enron guys, 3 weeks before the collapse, went and sold all their stock at top dollar prices and made all the employees hold on to theirs because it's in your 401ks, and then they went bankrupt. And then the rich people don't face any penalties. None of those guys that committed felonies in the banking industry, not one of them went to jail.
The only person who went to jail...
Some of them killed themselves, though, so that was kind of cool.
Well, that was nice, yeah. But that's probably because of their personal losses were so bad that they didn't feel like it could go on. But that wasn't the big guys who got out early.
That was your day traders, your people like that that had their whole life built on it.
The only person who went to jail was... Only one person in all this went to jail, and he had gone to jail whether there's a collapse or not. And the reason is because he was doing a Ponzi scheme. And that was Madoff.
No, Madoff, yeah, I was just about to say,
yeah,
Madoff. Yeah.
And you want to know probably one of the biggest reasons Madoff went to jail? Because he lost money for a bunch of rich and famous people. Enough rich people said, Madoff lost me a fortune. And they had the connections to make sure he went away.
I don't doubt it.
They never hold a corporation CEO hostage, but when it's one person like Madoff who lost money for a lot of other rich people by lying to them, they're a little vindictive. I'm sure, they had a meeting with the Illuminati and
oh boy,
decided to make an example of Madoff and all that jazz.
No, they had a meeting with the Stonecutters Guild.
Oh, why we have our tinfoil hats on, the Freemasons,
Hold on, there's a bunch of rich folks up in New York who were so ticked at Madoff, they called some of their judge friends and were like, you're not letting this guy off.
Oh, I'm sure.
Throw the book at him.
Yep. I'll throw in, $10,000 in your next election or whatever price it could be,
Right. Because Madoff, when he was broke, and he had no way to pay people off, but the people who lost money from him had a way to use their influence. But yeah, the corporations and the CEOs, they just find it, they have all these insulating laws, and it's like, dude, you're committing felonies and doing it in the name of your corporation with your decision making, you're not being held to it.
It's
only illegal.
They call that to lobbyists.
Yeah, it's only illegal if we do it, not if they do it. I mean, it's like you've got companies that are basically taking out insurance policies about other companies defaulting on their debt, paying that company to default on their debt, collecting the insurance money from themselves, the insurance companies, which are part of the industry. That is, the insurance monies are making that money back by raising your and my rates and just getting themselves free money. I mean, who is allowed? That'd be like me said, burning my own business down to make insurance money. I can't do that. But big business can do it.
Okay, Yankees wrong again. It was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac buying all the mortgages because the Congress wanted everyone to own a home regardless of the ability to repay the loan.
That's such fucking bullshit.
Wait, hold on. There, you got to realize this whole mortgage crisis has a lot of things that led to it, but Betty and Franny buying up the mortgage loans because they were a government-created company to buy that up because no reasonable company would think that's a good business model. They were buying up these mortgages from people, and they weren't checking the paperwork. So the people on the other end who were running mortgage companies knew they'd buy it without checking the paperwork and started making junk mortgages and selling it to them. If they weren't there to sell the junk to, if Betty and Franny weren't there to buy crap, they wouldn't have been shoveled crap.
That's what they were. That's why they were rolling nickels. That's why I said they're rolling nickels, trying to sell them as quarters, and they put us on the hook as taxpayers for it.
Yep.
All right, hold on.
So they're a part of it, but so Fannie and Franny led.
Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the kindly old grandma that you keep going to and asking for $20, and you do it 10 times because you know she's senile and she forgets she just gave you $20.
Right.
That's basically.
And that led to the subprime loans being sold off to them and then being packaged as good stuff into derivatives. And then when people found the derivatives weren't any good, that caused a mass panic, and everyone sold off the derivatives, causing the collapse. And then it went into other things when the collapse happened. They started selling off the money market funds, which had nothing to do with it.
Oh, let me ask Yankee this real quick. It says Yankee is wrong again. The deficit is going. Oh shit.
No, you can look up. Just look up the deficit right now. You can look it up.
The deficit is going down and the debt is going up, and projected to be $20 trillion in 2016.
That's
Our
right.
national debt is equal to the annual.
Dollars. If you look at debt as just dollars, you're a moron and you don't understand economics. You have to look at it as part of GDP, percentage of GDP, which is what the deficit is figured on. The deficit and the debt are the same thing. You're just comparing, all right, we owe less percentage of our income, but we owe more dollars. It's like if I was $10,000 in debt when I first got out of college, and I'm $20,000 in debt now, and I made $15,000 a year when I first got out of college, but I make $250,000 now. That's like pretending I'm now in worse financial condition because I owe $5,000 more. No, I'm in far better condition.
Well, hold on. I'm sorry. Ma'am, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a question. Didn't they also take out the cost of food and fuel out of those numbers to make them seem better than they were?
Yeah, this current administration, yes, does change up what they count to make the numbers look better.
Okay.
Just like they do with employment. Every
administration
has done that. Every administration has done that.
Yeah,
just like
they're not the first to think of it, though. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
What I was going to say, though.
Hold on,
just
one
like
at a time.
The Iraq War doesn't matter because that's going to pay for itself, so we're not figuring that in the budget.
Hold on. So I go back on the U.S. debt clock, and I go in the time machine part where you can go back every 4 years, and I look at what debt to GDP ratio was. When Clinton got out of office, we were at 58%. And then I thought, Bush was really bad because he took it from 58 up to like 70. And then we hit this giant recession, and we try to spend our way out of it. Now we jump from 58 to 70. Now we're like at 105. Okay? What if we hit another recession? What are we going to go to 120? 130? It's insane. We're over 100%.
100% deficit, you're saying?
Hold on. It says the debt is 100%. What does this says? The debt is 100% OD, or maybe he meant to say 100% of the GDP right now. Yankee is full of crap. Go back to Econ 101.
That's how you run a deficit. If your GDP is $1,000 and you spend 1,010, that's how you run a deficit of 10. You can't run a deficit if your percentage is below your total number.
Most economists agree that a deficit of 60% deficit to GDP ratio is considered good. We're at 105 right now. I mean, we're still limping along, but the next bad thing that happens, I don't know. I don't want to be Greece.
Yeah.
No, we need to start. We need to start tightening belts, and we need to start looking at where the real problems are. And the real problems, let's face it, aren't, whether you spend too much on your credit card, or where someone buys a house that's $10,000 more than they can afford, or whether someone's getting food stamps. The vast majority of the problem is corporate welfare and overspending on defense. Those are the two big problems. If we took care of corporate welfare and overspending, waste, I'm talking waste, not what's going into soldiers' pockets and actually building product, what's wasted in defense spending, we would eliminate our financial issues immediately just from taking care of those two things.
Wait, Yankee, are you saying that we don't need a $20,000 hammer?
Well, I'm a military spouse of 30 some years. I don't even know however many. 26, I guess. Okay, so not 30 yet, but I read an article the other day, and they were talking about how they're now setting up food banks on the bases, because with this 1% pay increase in a couple of years, that's going to mean that the average master sergeant is losing $5,000 a year that he had before. So there is a huge disparity in what the soldiers are being paid and what the Pentagon is wasting.
Oh, yeah. When you've got to think that, contractors have had 3, 4, 5 times income increases, not percentage, times, like 3 times, not 3%, like 300% increases in what they're making over the past 15 years. Whereas soldiers are making less and less money, and it's another part of our whole backwards ass philosophy in this country. It's like I feel that someone that carries a rifle and defends our country should make more than someone who carries a football across the touchdown, across the yard line.
Yeah, thank you. I agree with that 1,000%.
Hold on. Wait a second.
Make more than a banker.
How dare you? Those people who carry those footballs also carry guns, I'll have you know.
Yeah, they carry guns in their waistband of their sweatpants.
In their waistband, and they shoot.
Yeah, they Mexicans carry those guns. Why can't we just take out, a real threat to the world, Michael Bloomberg? We'd be solving so much.
He defends us against oversized sodas. How dare you, sir?
Because yes, that is the most pressing need in the city of New York.
Yeah, sodas.
I just have a problem with the whole idea of, I don't even drink regular soda, but if I lived in New York, I'd be starting drinking 10 big gulps a day, even if I had to drink diet. Drink them. Just because I'm like, you don't deal with an issue. You don't say, okay, well, our kids are scoring low on math tests. What do we do? Well, then you start putting more emphasis on math, spending more money on math. You don't hire an armed guard to stand at the front of the room and point a shotgun at anyone that doesn't do their math homework. And that's basically what Bloomberg wants to do. He just wants to eliminate all risk of you ever doing anything wrong.
I just love that for the little people.
I just love the hypocrisy of Bloomberg. He's standing up there with 6 armed guards, but you can't carry your handgun. You're not responsible enough.
Well, he has those armed guards because we have handguns.
I love that the average college student shouldn't own a firearm. I was 17 when I joined the Army. Yeah. Most of my friends hadn't even graduated high school yet, and I was learning how to kill people.
Me too. I did that early entry garbage.
Oh, my mother signed the paperwork, and I got my GED and went to the Army. That was all I did.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother argument right there when they say, when you can give an 18-year-old an automatic weapon and tell him to go die for his country, but he can't drink a beer.
I go the other way on that. I don't go the way of, oh, well, then that means they should drink a beer. I don't say, okay, if we do one thing wrong, we should do everything wrong. I'll be like, okay, you're right. 18-year-olds shouldn't be fucking dying for their country. They're too young. We need to start making soldiers a little older.
So what would you put the age at, Yankee, then, since you don't believe in 18? What should the age be then?
What, for soldiers
37.
Yeah, send the people that are over 40. Let's see how many wars get fought if it has to be fought by people that are over 40 every time.
That'd be funny to watch.
They'll be like, we need to blow them up. Wait, I gotta go? Oh, never mind. I'll pay $4 for gas.
Well, then, should someone who's 18, I mean, like in my state, Illinois, now, as January 1st this year, you can't even own a gun, even if you have a FOID card, until you're 21. I mean, are we just going to raise the age for gun ownership, too, then?
That's interesting. I have a friend that's getting their FOID in Illinois, so that's interesting to know.
Yeah, I mean, my dad signed my FOID card when I was 18, and I bought my first hunting rifle when I was 18. And I'm 22 now. I couldn't buy a handgun until I was 21.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because realistically...
Could you buy one from a private? Because federal law just says you can't buy it from an FFL.
No. Private sales are illegal now in Illinois. You have to go through an FFL.
That's your state issue, so you have to deal with that on a state level. That's
right. This is all on a state level. Yeah.
You know what I did to get away from state laws? I moved to a different state.
Yeah. Well, let's hit on that real quick, because honestly, I mean, I honestly kind of agree with Yankee in the sense of 18 being young. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I've got a stepson. My stepson's will be 18 in December, and he is by no means mature, intelligent, like responsible adult. You know what I mean?
One second. If you're gonna say that 18 might be too young for a soldier, how about 21 to be a cop? I mean, come on. I'm gonna turn that into both sides, because at 17 years old I was plenty mature and carrying a rifle.
Okay, I just gotta say something. Being 20.
Well, that's you. That's you, though. I mean,
I look back now from at the age of 47. I look back to the fact that I wasn't carrying a rifle. I was carrying a sidearm because I was 96 Bravo. But I look back now and I thought I was incredibly mature. But I look at some of the mistakes I made, financial mistakes, emotional mistakes, relationship mistakes, etc., and I was not mature at 18 years old, no matter what I tried to tell myself.
Fair enough, because
Yankee, we're still waiting.
Well, all I'm going to say is, you know what, I think if you're at 18, you should be able to buy, in my state you need a FOID card, but in states where you don't, I mean, you should be able to buy a handgun. If I could buy a 50 BMG Barrett, if I had the money, that is, I should be able to own a handgun. I mean,
let me throw this out there to you. In Maine and New Hampshire, and Vermont, the only place you can't buy a handgun is an FFL. Private sales fine. Where they get you is you can't buy handgun ammunition federally until you're 21.
Right.
Which means you can't even have a Chris Vector carbine.
It's not illegal for your dad to buy ammunition and give it to you, though.
Right.
It's not like alcohol, where it's illegal to even give it to a minor. You can buy a gun, you can buy a handgun ammunition and give it to your children.
Well,
let's answer that.
I'm going to go on record right now saying that when you want to talk about the age issue, I don't believe anyone under the age of 35 should have any rights whatsoever, and they should have to be off the streets by sundown.
Yeah. No, but in all honesty, let's really think about that. Is 18 too young for to own a firearm? Or you know what I'm saying? All the things that we just naturally give people, or the when they say you're an adult at 18, should that really be 21?
Is 18 too young to die for a country?
Well, do we have a ration?
You can't make that argument when you're older.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I think you're wrong.
Do you have a rash of 18-year-olds killing themselves right now? I'm not seeing a rash of 18-year-olds killing themselves or anybody else.
I don't think there's a set age. To be perfectly honest, I think it varies person to person. I don't think you
but what I'm saying is that there's people like up where I live. If I had told anyone, because I was just starting college and I bought a rifle, they'd think I was about to go do something nefarious with it.
That's a society problem. That's not an age problem.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, you got your first rifle. My family tradition is you get your first rifle when you turn 8. And I followed through with my son. He got his first rifle when he turned 8. So at 8 years old, we're getting rifles in my family.
Well, that's unheard of here.
See, I'm similar to Yankee. My kids are 8 and 9, and they're learning how to shoot next spring.
Oh, well, that's different. I mean,
Uh,
I got my kid his first rifle when he was 9 also, but that's different between, teaching your kid to shoot and establishing some good gun handling and safety and all that sort of stuff, and then being able to have the rights and, like Yankee said, go to war at 18. There's a lot of things that you don't. There's a lot of I don't know the correct word I'm searching for here, but there's a lot of things you don't get to take advantage of until you're 21. There are certain things that you get at 18, but there's a lot more at 21.
You go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, I just have an interesting perspective because we've only been back in the States for 8 years. And where we lived was a very tiny group of islands off the coast of Portugal called the Azorian Islands. And their drinking laws, they said supposedly were 16, but basically if you could see over the bar, they would be willing to give you something. And it was very weird. It was very weird being an adult and seeing high school kids at the club drinking because they were considered of age there. However, although they were allowed to drink there, their driver's license you could not get until you were 21 or older. So they went the opposite way. They said, okay, well, you guys can have some alcohol, but you're not allowed to drive yet.
That almost makes more sense to me than the higher drinking age.
It does make more sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because, it's just like, I've never believed in making something taboo for my kid. It's like I don't tell them that you can't use. There's only like 2 words I tell them they can't use. They can't use the N word because I don't want them getting their ass kicked, and they can't use the F word. Not fuck. They can say fuck all they want. No F word.
You mean the shorter version, the shorter F word?
Yeah, and I'm just like, the only reason I don't allow you to use those 2 words is because there's no positive way to use those words. Anytime you use them, they're going to have negative connotations to someone. They're going to hurt somebody's feelings. Now, other language, it's just words, and your intent means way more. If someone comes up to me and slaps me on the back and says, "How you doing, you ugly motherfucker," and they're a friend and they mean that in a great way, that's awesome. But if someone says something snarky to me and doesn't use a single swear word, that's way worse than that.
Agreed.
Well, there's a difference though between what you guys are saying. You say you bought your son his first rifle at 8 years old. Even though you bought it for him, it's not his rifle. I mean, not in the way I'm thinking of it. I mean, when I say I bought my rifle, it was my rifle. I bought a safe for the rifle. It was under my control. I bought the ammo. I could take it to the range anytime I wanted to. That's obviously not for an 8-year-old, but my point was that I think an 18-year-old is, if you're mature enough to buy a rifle, you're mature enough to own a handgun, okay?
The 18 I'm okay with because technically you're an 18. If you tell you're 18 years old, you're a minor, you're my responsibility, and I go to jail for any bad thing you do in some circumstances. So I'm okay with saying until they're 18 years old, it's up to they can't legally own anything. Let's face it, anyone under the age of 18 doesn't legally own anything anyway. They don't have any right responsibilities or any signing privileges even. But once it gets over 18, that's I think that's person by person basis. That there are some 25-year-olds I don't trust with a gun. Some 35-year-olds.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And there are cases where kids can go out 14, 16 years old and buy their first rifle. They don't have to be 18.
Where?
I think.
Where is this?
Yeah, I think you're.
I don't know.
I had a dream about that. Court.
Yeah.
Wyoming. I think it's Wyoming doesn't have any age restriction on a long gun.
The federal government
But if you buy it from a private party.
The Federal Youth and Firearms Act, or whatever it's called, it clearly states what ages you have to be, and that's a federal law.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah, nice try, Court. Survey says.
No, I'm serious. I'll look it up.
You can look up all you want. Just because the state allows it doesn't mean the federal government does, and the stricter law always supersedes.
Right.
The federal always overrides.
Right.
If you don't have a law written in your county constitution about murder, it's still illegal.
Well, I understand that, but I'm talking about actually owning, being in possession of.
You just said that you could go buy a gun at 14.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what you said, Court. You can't buy a
Well,
gun.
I'm talking about your parent does all the paperwork, but it's in your name.
Well, that's
Oh.
different.
Yeah, that's not the same.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
your
at all.
name. It's your gun.
No, it's not.
No, you can't fill out a 4473 for a 9-year-old just because you do it in your handwriting.
That's a straw purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my point is, especially up here in Illinois, like we just got this law. It astounded me that but I just remember again when I was 18 buying my rifle. Now it's illegal, and I have to find out if like you bought someone for a friend, like if I have a friend who's 20, and I buy him a gift, which is still legal under the new Supreme Court ruling. I buy him a present that if he can own it or not.
No. If it's illegal in Illinois to own a firearm,
No. It's illegal to buy a firearm. Like at 18, you can have a FOID card. You can still have a FOID card. They said no, you can't go to the gun shop, fill out the paperwork and bring home the gun. But I don't know if you can give a gun to someone.
That's not a. Just go ask a lawyer: is possession illegal or just purchase? Because those are two very distinct things.
Right.
Okay, I need some clarification on the Illinois situation because I have a young woman that is very close to our family, and she is about to get married, and what we were going to get her for her wedding, she's over 23, was she has a particular gun that she wants. And she's applied for her FOID card, she's waiting to get it in.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be best for us to take her in, have her sign out all the paperwork, and just pay for it for her?
No, that's a straw purchase. I was about to say, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Actually, they can pay for it. They can actually go in.
No. Up here, it's treated like a straw purchase. Believe
So,
me.
I mean, if I give her the money to buy her own handgun, that's a straw purchase. But if I purchase it for her and give it to her gift, it's not?
Well, it has to go through an FFL because you can't do.
That's what she's talking about. Is going.
What matters is if she fills out the 4473. It doesn't matter where the money comes from. It is not illegal to loan someone money for any reason you want to loan them to. If I want to give Nathan $500 to go buy a Glock tomorrow, I can do it. He can go down.
do.
As long as he fills out the paperwork, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, I'm just saying.
As
Long as she has a FOID card, because you have to have the FOID card in your possession before you can take possession of any firearm in Illinois or ammunition. So if you wanted to buy her a gun, I would expect you could buy it from your FFL and have them ship it to an FFL near her in Illinois, and she could just take possession, pay the transfer fee, whatever it is.
Okay, because I mean, I'm going to be down there for her wedding, and
well, the easier thing you can do up here is what we do up here is you can buy a gift card to her local gun shop, and then she can just go buy it herself.
Hold on, if she's gonna be there for the wedding, there's nothing easier than going with and just bankrolling the purchase.
I always say buying a gift card for a gun shop is the best way to go. Whenever I've wanted to pay for a gun for somebody, I usually buy them a gift card there.
I heard that from the ATF.
That's what I do all the time.
Because I mean, technically, she will be legal to purchase her own handgun.
Well, it cannot be considered a straw purchase if you buy her a gift card and then give her the gift card to the gun shop, and she.
Okay.
There's no way you could be in the red at all on that.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know how to go about that because I know that's something that she would very much like for her wedding present.
The gun shops up here get really jumpy and they don't even know the law. I found, about straw purchasing. So if you walk up to her to the gun store in Illinois and you say, hey, I'm going to pay for a gun for her, they're going to flip out and call the state police. So don't do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, you live in an anti-gun state where
I do.
They're always worried about the politicians being against guns and doing things to entrap them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and see, I live in a state that is, we have great gun laws. I live in Virginia, so
yeah.
I mean, it's
I just wanted to give you the warning because I live in northern Illinois where they're real jumpy. I mean, anytime you walk in with a gun store and you're standing there, if I'm buying a gun and my friend's next to me, they're looking at you with a close eye to make sure a straw purchase isn't going on. That's just what I've seen.
okay. What about if I give her cash for her wedding?
That's fine. Just don't do it in the gun store. Don't like stand
Okay.
next to her and say, "Hey, hand her cash," and then she's like, "I'm gonna have this one." Just
Yeah,
don't
and
do
not
that.
because it's illegal what you're doing there. That's not illegal, but to the gun shop owner's eyes, it's going to look like that she's buying that gun for you.
Right.
not the other
Right.
way around.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the gun store's gonna go, "Oh my God, she's buying a gun for a felon. Let me call the state police over here." You know.
Okay. I just didn't know which would be the best way, so I'm glad some of you are from Illinois here.
Yeah.
'Cause that really does help me understand a bit better.
Yeah.
I do have one other question about Illinois that if you guys
Sure.
can answer it.
Yeah.
She is eligible for her FOID card. She is however, her husband is not. Can she still legally buy a handgun for the home?
See, I actually know the answer to this question. I just have to ask: is her husband a felon?
He is not a felon, but about 10 years ago, his parents put him in psychiatric care when he was like 12.
As I understand the law, because I know for sure that if he's a felon, even if someone else can legally have a FOID card, you cannot have a firearm in the same home where a felon lives. However, I don't think that applies if he was just adjudicated mentally deficient.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's different then.
he had a rough period between the ages of 10 and 13 where there was a lot of rebellion and stuff, and I was thinking, well, the best thing to do then would to be one of those isometric locking things that only her fingerprints would register on.
Biometrics. Yeah, biometrics locks.
To be honest, I don't think that's needed because it was a mental issue. It wasn't he's a felon. So
Yeah.
I don't even think that's necessary. I mean, if she wanted to cover herself, she could do that, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, because they said that he has to wait 5 more years. So apparently,
It's 5 years after you're involuntarily admitted to a mental.
well, this was 10 years ago that he was involuntarily admitted.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the application to FOID, I'm looking at it right now. It says 5 years. That's what it said when I applied.
Okay.
5 years after you're out, you can apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I tuned in tonight. You guys are such a wealth of knowledge.
I'm glad I could help you.
We try, self-proclaimed internet gun experts.
Yeah.
That's what you got here.
And one other thing I have to say, I've seen some of you before. I haven't seen all of you, Stone Guy, I know. But Yankee Marshall, I'm such a fangirl of yours. I just want you to know that.
We're all a fan of you.
Oh my word! I hope he's away from the computer. Doesn't need any more of that.
Every time he has a new one come out, my husband and I are like, "Oh, he's got a new one."
Oh, I liked Yankees. Who saw his bullet video earlier? I liked that one. You're trading your bullets, the bartering bullets or whatever earlier today.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I already got people saying, you got your finger on the trigger when you cocked that hammer. I'm like, how the fuck am I supposed to lower the goddamn hammer after I pulled it?
I saw your comment on that, yeah.
That was a pretty gun, by the way, Yankee. I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Was that your ammo storage for real, Yankee? Was that like a real picture of your ammo in the back there?
Yeah, I mean, let's see if I can get it on.
He's a damn 1%er. He's got his own ammo safe.
Oh,
shit, Yankee.
hold on.
Holy shit.
Let me see if I can move the pallets of money and gold out of the way to show you my ammo.
Okay.
Crap.
Move the 60 handguns out of the way.
Okay, since he has so much ammo, this is a wonderful question for him. I was asking somebody how much ammo I should have on stock. And it was like for 22, something like 16,000. For 9 mils, it was around 10,000.
Jeez.
That's
what they told you?
Yeah.
Good numbers.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, okay, AR-223, he said 12,000. And I'm like thinking,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm waiting for the apocalypse.
Yeah, well, these are good numbers to strive for, I guess, but let's face it, I have a belief that if I have any round that I carry, I want to have at least 2,000 rounds in it. Now, there's no maximum number I can have, so 12,000 is fine if I can get up to that number. But where I start to worry is if I get below 2,000 in any caliber I carry, or my rifle ammo. You know, rifle ammo, I got to have at least 3,000 to 4,000 rounds in each one.
Yeah, tell someone in Northern Illinois you have that much ammo.
Yeah, but the way I look at it is, it's kind of like if you ever get to an apocalyptic situation where you're going to have to spend the rest of your life on the ammo you have, it's probably not going to matter because you're probably not going to get to stay with your ammo your whole rest of your life. You're at one point or another going to have to move, and so is, you know, and you're only going to take what you can carry. So.
Well,
Are you telling me I'm not going to be able to take my reloader with me?
Exactly.
Oh, damn.
Like the guy today in one of my videos was like, well, you all are idiots for buying factory ammo. I've got a reloader, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, he's like, I just keep enough bullets and casings and primers on hand, and I can make as much as I need as I need it. And I'm like, well, that's great, but if things get bad and there's earthquake, etc., you've got to run. How heavy is your reloader?
Yeah.
What are you going to mount it to out in the woods that you can reload?
Well, if you're stocking up on ammo, 22 is definitely the best to have for bartering, I think. I mean, who's not going to have a 22?
Oh no, I think a 45 to the chest is much better for bartering.
Okay, well, here's the thing, Yankee. I mean,
oh, this is what you need ammo for? Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so is my ammo or is my gun collection incomplete because I do not have a 45?
No.
But I wouldn't. I don't care. You know, if someone has got a hunting rifle, a defensive rifle, and a defensive handgun, and a shotgun, their collection's complete. Everything after that's butter, pretty much. You know.
Right.
Okay.
And for me, Kelly, I'm kind of, those numbers are great. I think obviously the way I approach ammo is buy as much as you can afford.
Okay.
But
not more than you can afford.
Right. And realistically, for me, I'm right there kind of with Yankee. You know, that 1,500 to 2,000 rounds is what I'm comfortable with. And it's not an outrageous amount because you got to think, once you start getting into that much ammo, I mean, you got to consider where you're going to store that, especially if you've got different, you know, like me, I've got probably, let's see, 9, 10 different calibers of guns that I would have to store that much ammo for. So that would take up a lot of room.
Okay.
Let me give you a more minimalist view. I don't have anywhere near any much ammo as these guys are talking about, but what I do have is in an emergency, I have enough ammo in my ammo cans I can grab and leave with that I can reload my entire combat vest 3 times. That's the minimum, I would say, to have always on hand for an emergency. And then add to that, because then you got to say, okay, if there's another ammo crisis, how much ammo would I need for the next 2 years till it passes? So that's kind of something to think about too. What does my practice ammo level need to be, and what does my emergency bug-out ammo need to be?
Right.
Okay.
My emergency, what I go by is my emergency bug-out type ammo is double what I can carry. Period. Whatever it is. If I run 200 rounds on my rig, I've got 400 rounds worth of rifle ammo. And
see exactly what he's saying. When I watched Southern Prepper 1, he said you should have 3 combat loadouts. So 1 on the vest and the ability to reload your vest twice. Because basically he said if you get into 3 major firefights, you're probably not going to live.
You're doing something wrong.
Honestly, if you're in 3 major firefights where you're dumping a couple hundred rounds per firefight, you're not going to make it that long. You know?
Hey, I want to say something real fast. I actually have to get going, guys. But Kelly, do you have any other question about Illinois before I go? I just wanted to answer.
No, actually, I think you've cleared it up for me a lot. Okay. It sounds like the way I need to go is I need to buy her a gift certificate and.
Yep, that's a safe way.
Okay.
Just, you know, Illinois isn't as bad as people think. We don't have the rounds limits like New York and California, but it gets tricky with having the FOID card. The basic thing is as long as you have a FOID card, you're good for any Class 1 firearm or ammunition. You're good. So
okay.
That's all. And as long as you go the gift card route, there's no way a dealer's going to think it's a straw purchase. So you're not going to get
Okay.
yourself in any trouble at all.
Well, I feel bad that Yankee Marshall left after I told him I was
No.
a fangirl.
I know.
So,
Hey guys, Stone Guy, thanks for having me on. I hope to be on again. I
Oh
really
yeah,
appreciate
anytime,
it.
brother, anytime.
I enjoyed this chat so much, guys. All right, thank you guys. Have a great
thank
night.
you
Okay.
for all the
Hey, you too.
answers.
You too, buddy.
All right, buddy.
Later.
Don't be upset. Yankee probably, when he got up to show us the ammo, saw a watermelon and got distracted. And had to
That's Yankees MO. You can't
I
go-
just thought
Prob-
I tell him I'm a fangirl of his, and he leaves. You know.
He
no, trust
probably
me.
hit the wrong button with his.
His ADD kicked in. It's okay.
He's like, what is that scratch on my ammo box?
He noticed a caliber was not in the right spot. So
I haven't dusted this ammo, and I just made a video about it the other day. I better dust it again.
Did you watch that video, Nathan? That was a really pretty Colt Python that he pulled out.
I have not watched the video, but I see he just put it out today. That's why, because
he's-
been on. I logged on here after to join this, but I've been being forced to do chores against my will.
I hear you. Well, man,
But, yeah.
I think that's a pretty good time to shut it down. We stayed on
Okay.
topic.
And I'm sorry
For
if
the
I
most
threw
part,
you guys off topic, but
No, that's
Stone Guy, I didn't.
No, we love topics.
No, it was a
Stone Guy,
free for all. It was not a topic chat. So
I knew that I could ask these questions here and get some decent answers, as opposed to, terrified fear answers, and I needed some logic in my head. When somebody starts telling me I have to have 46,000 rounds of ammo, I start to
No,
get a
that's-
little.
yeah, that's a little extreme.
Well, I mean,
If you want a nice round number, I keep 1,000 rounds of 308 for my battle rifle.
Okay.
yeah, I keep about 1,000 rounds of 223 in stock, along with all my other calibers and other rifles and stuff. When people start telling me stuff like, "Oh, you should keep 2,000 rounds of buckshot on hand," how far away can you shoot someone with a 12 gauge buckshot? I mean, that's just not realistic.
Oh,
You're not
yeah,
gonna
well,
do
yeah,
combat
see-
fights like that. And people, when they tell you to have as much pistol rounds as rifle rounds, come on, pistol's a backup. Pistol's to get a rifle. I mean, you should focus on looking at how the military carries ammo. That's how you should carry it. Have your primary rifle ammo and
carrying
then a
it-
couple pistol mags,
Okay,
and then stock accordingly.
So one of the things that I've been really reluctant to do is I practice with my pistols a lot.
No, you should,
But-
for sure.
But with our AR, I am not really practicing at all. My husband keeps saying, "Come on, you need to practice with this," and I'm like, it just makes me a little leery. So maybe I need to start
definitely
doing
need
that
to-
better.
Yeah, you definitely need to practice with everything, but I would definitely say practice with your handguns more than a rifle, because a rifle is going to be inherently easier to shoot than a pistol, especially if you have if you've got an optic on your AR, then you're that much ahead
Yes,
of the game.
we definitely do.
Yeah, so
Darn is fun. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but rifles make my titties jiggle way too much.
But the black and pink bra would keep them in place.
I don't like it.
You know, like,
Don't lag it.
but I find it very attractive. So
It's like we were at a club not too long ago, and I remember sitting in the club, and I'm like, I don't like this music. And they're like, you mean you don't like this band? I'm like, no, I don't like their way there's so much bass in it. It's making my titties jiggle way too much, and I want to leave.
I've had that happen. Except with me, it's usually fluttering in the stomach. So, is there anything else you guys think that I haven't asked that I should know?
well, I was just going to say, what about, because Nathan, what you said was correct, but I think let's clarify the difference between having ammo stored and what you called your loadout.
Well,
I mean, obviously, if you
that's
got
why Well, that's
you've
why I
got a
said
tack vest, where you're only going to be able to carry 6 or 8 magazines. That's different from what you could potentially have stored at your house. So I'm going to say magazines. What kind of magazines? That I think magazines even more so than ammo would be a consideration and a prerequisite for.
Well, there's two sides to that, Stone. I mean, if you're trying to go on more of a militaristic style loadout, you're talking 10 to 12 AR-15 magazines loaded, and then
Yeah,
3
see,
to
I
4
have
overall pistol
40,
mags.
and see, I have about 45 loaded AR mags, and I have probably
Right.
on my main Glock, I've got 10 pistol mags loaded.
Right. Now, see, for example, I run an 8 mag setup with my AR-10, and it's 308. I run 4 25-round PMags and 4 20-rounders, and then I keep on my loadout 40 rounds of 45.
Now, are you all talking like you keep 45 AR mags loaded for self-defense or for a competition or something?
No, for your grab bag, self defense, shit hit the fan. I've got a bags with all my loaded AR mags that I can grab and go.
Yeah, I only keep 8 loaded, so 45 sounds a bit extreme to me. But then again,
Yeah, it's a little extreme. I would rather carry, I don't think I'm going to 45 mags is really. You're not utilizing your storage space the most, putting them in a magazine. That takes up more room than a box of ammo does. So I just put boxes of ammo in a certain number of mags.
Yeah, but see,
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I got a-
In the
I got an
worst
ammo
case
can.
scenario, I don't want to have to be loading mags.
Let me break it to you. If you're in a situation where you're having to, I've got to have 45 loaded mags because I'm fighting off 30 people. Well, goodbye, you're dead, because you're not fighting off 30 people by yourself. So those kind of situations, those kind of scenarios are silly. I always say, like, I can hold off 10 people with my AR. I'm like, well, yeah, if they all stand right in front of you. But if they've even just got like musket loaders and there's 10 of them, you're a dead man.
Well, and what I was trying to say earlier is you have to have the idea of what's my emergency loadout. So, build yourself like a battle belt or something, and look that up, and if you haven't already done it, Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
and build yourself a battle belt and all that stuff. Figure out how you want to operate and wear stuff, and then so part of your consideration is how much ammunition do I need to run the battle belt and reload it a few times, and then your other consideration is how much do I shoot, and how much should I stock up to keep myself in practice ammunition for the next 1 year, and then after you get to 1 year of enough practice ammunition, okay, 2 years, because again, when there's, we've seen them when the ammo crisis happens and there's price spikes, why would you want to have to go out and spend extra money on the ammo? Buy it now while it's cheap. It doesn't go bad.
Yeah.
And also,
It will only increase in price too, whether there's an ammo shortage or not. Ammo will only increase in price from now on. Always has.
Okay, go ahead, David.
I was going to say another thing along the lines of what the Stone Guy was talking about how many mags he carries. If you carry 45 loaded magazines and only a pint of water, you take 8 mags and take, gallon of water.
You might be thirsty. Okay.
Yeah, you got to balance that. If you're talking about a survival or shit hits the fan situation, like what we're talking about now, you really got to balance your offensive capabilities with your survival capabilities.
And you got to think, like, how likely am I to have to fend off a horde of, crazed methamphetamine jacked up bikers, and how likely am I to get thirsty? Okay.
I have to admit, I am very new to guns. Stone knows this. I can say that September 22nd was the first day we bought our first gun. So probably the first time I shot was a week before that. And I did not know I was going to love it. But are the only guns that have the extended magazines the Glocks? Because I don't own a Glock yet, but I do know that they have some of the extended magazines. Or do other guns also come with them?
Most manufacturers have extended. Now, I'm assuming, Nathan, that she's talking about beyond flush, like the SIG here.
Yes, exactly.
This is my 10
like
round.
I saw somebody that had like a 30 round
Right. Now, most manufacturers have extended. I know you can get a 30 round or 32 round for a Beretta M9. You get a 31 or 32 for a Glock. I can't quite remember.
Okay.
Depends. Yeah, the Glock stick
Kelly,
depends on the
what model
caliber.
do you have?
Yeah, and I've seen them put the 30 rounders in the CX4s, so if the CX4s take the same mags as the PX4s and the 92s.
Right.
Well, obviously, those mags will fit in those too.
Yeah, what kind of handgun do you have, Kelly?
Let's see. I have a CZ75D. I have an XDS. I think that's my only 2.9mm. Mike has some other 9mm, but I'm not counting his. I have a SIG P238, a 380. I have a SR22 22 mil, and I'm getting a Buckthorn 22 probably tomorrow.
There you go. Damn, you've got a pretty good setup for being new to guns.
That's
Well,
at the
I have
1 year
to say-
mark. Wow.
We found that our budget works a lot better if I don't buy or he doesn't buy a new gun every month. But we did. We practically bought a new gun every single month for the past 11 months.
Nice.
I wish I could buy a new gun every month.
Yeah, I know they make them for
Hey,
the
Kelly,
for the
we
XDs.
call that Yankee marshalling it.
Well, my husband, there was a gun I wanted. I thought I wanted it. I ended up turning it in for consignment because I decided it just wasn't for me. But my husband was talking to me, and he's like, "Okay, now Kelly, you've got to realize you are now moving out of the I need into the collector."
Right.
Yeah. So
That's a quick transition when you're a gun owner.
I just love it. I mean, if I could go to the range every single day and spend 2 hours a day there, I'd be like in heaven.
Well, your husband's lucky because I can't get my wife to go shooting with me. So.
Oh.
Yeah, if I spent 2 hours a day at the range, I would be in divorce court.
Oh my God! See,
and not be in my house.
I look forward. He travels pretty frequently for business, like every month or every other month. And every day he's gone, I'm at the range. And he'll say, "Okay, I've got this much loaded for you. Try not to buy any at the store." And I'm like, "Okay." And at the end of day one, I'm like, "Well, shit, now I got to buy some at the store." And those of you that can't get your wives to go, start them out on a 22 close up and explain to them what a stress reliever it is.
I started my girlfriend on a 45 and a 308, and she does just
well,
fine.
See, no. You did it backwards. Start her on a 22 and then work her up.
Fails to tell you his girlfriend.
With a 22, she's
Yeah,
perfectly content with 45 and 308.
Okay.
What he's failing to tell you is his girlfriend used to have a dick.
Because, well,
don't make me go wake her up, Yankee.
and I want to become a pistol instructor because I have found, no offense against any of you guys here, but watching at the range, I have come up with 2 classifications of men. There's those that are married that feel it's okay to berate their wife because she's not hitting it out at 10 yards even though he's never taken her before. And so then he yells at her. And then there's a kind that it's the, "I want to be your boyfriend, so let me show you how big my
revolver is."
Yeah, my
caliber?
revolver is by pushing it out as far as I can. And then she can't handle the gun, and she's in tears. And, I'm always respectful to the man first because I figure if he's pushing her, I'm going to talk to him first. And I'm like, "Do you mind if I show her a couple of things?" Within 10 minutes of showing her something where she can see that she's being successful, she loves it. It's like, "Oh my God, this is so much fun." I'm like,
yeah, there's definitely a
yes, it
niche. a niche for female shoot. That's why I'm extremely supportive of getting more females involved, not only in the shooting sports, which is like my area. I love to see new women out in the shooting arena, but like you're talking about shooting instructors, I think it'd
New
be
women in the shooting arena, but let's be fair. The reason he likes to see new women in the shooting arena don't have shooting orders yet.
I have not tried any of that, but that is my goal for next summer.
yeah, because that would be cool to have more female instructors. You'd probably have a more receptive clientele with new women.
Well, I'm hoping the instructor thing happens by the end of the year. I had it all lined up. I knew who I was taking my class from, and she decided to quit teaching the class. And I'm like, oh, crap, now I have to find somebody else. But
Well,
I
because
got a
realistically, I mean,
good recommendations, so.
and all jokes aside, realistically, I think women are the future of shooting sports. I think a woman getting involved would grow the shooting sports way faster than any other.
Kelly, are you in Illinois?
No, actually, I'm out in Virginia right now.
Oh, Virginia. Okay, you're talking about your friend. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, I used to be in Illinois until about 5 years ago.
I was about to say that's if a woman trying to become an instructor in Illinois, that's groundbreaking because they just opened up. You could build a great business there.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, I just think that, okay, say shit hits the fan, and for some fluke reason, my husband gets taken down. Just, something happens and he's not there. I need to know how to protect myself because I don't want to be the next one down. I would prefer the person that shot him be the next one down. So I am well into practicing. I think practice is a great thing in that, you can't go, oh, I'm going to go once a month. Especially if you're a new shooter, once a month is not near enough.
I like the way you think. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Stone Guy. I know I'm not usually able to jump on, but I appreciate the invite every single time you send it.
Oh yeah, no worries, man. It's nice to have a different opinion on things, and ask like tonight. You asked some great questions that kept the conversation going, so that's always good to.
Well, like I said, I'm a newbie, and I need to know what's what. And, I'm trying to learn as much as I can from everywhere I can. So, and Yankee, I really think you need some Yankee Marshall fangirl T-shirts to,
I've never
put
been
up for sale.
thing with my face on it.
Well, use your symbol.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing. My logo has my face in it, and then like that guy made that lower for me. He's like, "I'll make you a lower with your logo on it." I was like, "Why the hell would I want a lower with my face on it? Especially if I ever went to resell it. Like, look, here's a lower with my face on it. Who's going to?"
All right, everyone. I gotta actually get going. I gotta get up with my kid. His first day tomorrow.
I got to go into the store, so
Yeah, I think it's a good time to shut it off. We've been going strong for a little while, but hell, I appreciate everybody tuning in and everybody on the panel that came out.
It was nice meeting you. It was nice to meet at least one person in here who's got enough taste to watch my videos.
Oh, I look for them every day. I really do. It's sometimes the highlight of my day. Is watching what you have to share. So.
That's pretty sad, Kelly. I would have kept that to myself.
I can't. I'm at home all day with 2 small dogs. Come on.
Oh man.
Well,
Kelly, it was nice having you on. It was good to meet you.
And it was great to meet all you guys, and thank you so much again for all your help and being so patient with me with all my questions. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Oh yeah, anytime, man. Come on back. So we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, thanks, Stone.
Night, everyone.